and hello, and online, and I am looking very not online presentable, which is great. Um, I just thought I'd make a regular post, you know. Obviously, last couple of ones in the office have been a bit cray, really, you know, because basically I won't go on about it now because I don't want to put myself back into the other state. But like when I'm in a work mode, I just completely change and rewire everything, and all that lot. So just like more hyper, basically, a lot more hyper. Anyway, it's Sunday morning, and just chilling, really. Last night, I went to town. Uh, One of the guys who works for me actually lives very very close to me. He's like my next door neighbor, and he's my next door neighbor. Basically we're in a share house. So I mean, my living situation is pretty lame right now. I just like have a room in a share house, and I suppose at the end of this month, or at the end of next month, I'll uh, I'll rent a nice house, something like this. Never bothered me actually. I'm not really one to sort of dwell in share houses, apart from when I lived in Tokyo last year. I lived in one because honestly there was no choice considering my budget, and the prices there were just astronomical. So you know what I was paying for a little cube in a share house in Tokyo was with that money I could get a four-bedroom detached house to rent here. So whatever. And actually here, the funny thing is, the rent here is like £385 a month. So like it's like 550 US dollars or something like that. But yeah, so like £385. So, and if actually when I go and get a house, it's going to cost me about 600, 550. You know, so it's actually not that much more. But obviously with the house, then you have to pay for the internet as well, and gas and electricity, and the local tax. Like, so I guess that would add another like 120 quid on or something, 100 quid give or take. So yeah. So yeah, you do save money living in a share house for real. Not that you know that was I'm a big person about saving money. If if the quality of life is better to spend the money, may as well spend the money and have the better quality of life. But the point is I'm trying to make is, I didn't mind it. I haven't minded living here. Like I haven't. It's been interesting. I mean, I came in this share house like, oh, um, you know, towards the start of this year. I'd come back from Japan, um, sort of, October time last year, and then my mum passed away in December, and then I got kicked out of my dad's, and then I moved into to share house like January time. And so yeah, and so there's been some really interesting characters in here. So there's been so I mean when I first moved in, there was like a load of Polish people living on my floor. There's like a few different floors here, well, three different floors, and there was a load of Polish people living on my floor and stuff. And a bunch of Slovakians downstairs, some Romanians, a And I really liked it actually, you know, a bit of international flavour, you know, and like I was like pretty much the only English person here, which was weird because yet again, you know, I'm in my hometown and you know, just surrounded by foreign people, which is basically the same when I've like lived abroad all the time. I've been surrounded by foreign people, so it's a little bit, I don't know. But I actually like it, you know. I like being around like lots of different types of people. I just do, like really. I mean, just being around like the same type of people all the time, you know, just annoys me. In fact, you know, having this conversation, one of the lads at the office is recommending his cleaner friend, and I was just thinking to myself, well, hang on, this cleaner is just going to be like another English person. Oh my god, it's like I thought to myself, my office is all of a sudden getting quite local, and all the locals are like going to start recommending each other. I thought, nah, we'll get a, you know, we'll get a Polish cleaner. You know, I think it's definitely the way to go. Yeah. But the thing is about this place, you know, I just like the fact that it's just a room. It's 385 a month, and it has everything. You know, all the, you know, it's got a shared kitchen, which only really I use because there's a few different kitchens here. So basically got my own kitchen. And I don't know, but I know it's not a long-term thing. I know I'm going to get an apartment, and I'm guessing 21 days I'll move out of here. 21 days, 22 days. What we on the 9th now? And I move somewhere. So that means I've got to do a lot of work. So I've got to build my business, the one with the office, and I've got another project, which I just can't go into the details of. But you know, it's I can go into some of the details. It's not secret or anything. It's like an algorithmic trading project platform, things like this. Again, I'm being very vague because honestly, I just can't be asked to go into it. But it's a consulting gig, we can say, and yeah, I need to do some hours on that. So if I can do enough hours, find the time to do enough hours, I can put in my bill and get a nice payout at the end of the month because they give me a very good hourly rate. So, and I can do it at any time I want just from my computer. But I'm not doing anything today because it's Sunday. Apart from waiting for my weed dealer. And last night, you know, I did. You know, the place was a tip. Like my room was a tip. The kitchen was a tip. You know, tons of clothes. Because they'd been away like the last month. I've been away on like 3 or 4 different holidays or travels, whatever you want to call it, and yeah, I've been coming back a bit of watch, and anyway, no, I've not done that like deep clean and just like got on top of everything properly. So. But I did that yesterday because it was really starting to grate on me. So yeah, I also brought a new pair of trainers yesterday. Funny story. Last week I was in my friend's room just round there. The guy who, you know, the lad who works for me now. And anyway, I left my shoes in his room, trainers, and in the morning he left them outside the front of my door, and they'd gone. And I'm guessing we're guessing it's the smackets downstairs. So yeah, the very fact that I mean, if I didn't like have to deal with shit like that, and not only did my trainers go missing like last week, which were like 50 quid, so I've had to spend another 50 quid yesterday, and that I would have rather have spent that on something else, like a pair of new running trainers. But I'm gonna get my new running trainers on Tuesday, and these are the trainers that I replaced. I only brought these last week, and then I've had to buy them again tomorrow. But these Sambas. Nice. The ones I had last week actually had a longer tongue. And so in a way I'm glad that these are a bit smaller because it was looking a bit too much like a football thing or something, do you know what I mean? A big thing, so yeah, sushi sambas though, all the way. Sushi sambas? Did I say sushi sambas? Samba Sushi. I'm thinking of a restaurant in London. But no, I need this Samba's. What am I talking about? Samba Sushi. Yeah, it's a place. It's a really nice restaurant in London. Been there a couple of times. On a rooftop of a skyscraper. Yeah. Real banshee. So, what else? Yeah. So I'm just literally waiting. Like, so I woke up this morning and I've had breakfast and I've done some stuff, and now really I need to I want to get out, but I'm gonna try my weed guy before I get out because I just want to get that and then I know I've got the weed sorted. It's a Sunday. I'm like not gonna be smoking next week for a Monday. I mean, like, what's been happening is I've been not smoking in the day anymore. I'm only smoking at 8 at night. But what I'm doing next week is obviously not smoking in the day again. And what I actually started to do toward the end of last week is like really reduce the amount of smoking on an evening as well. Because what happened is like the first 2-3 times I come home from work and I just like smoke loads and loads and loads, and it was like too much. So then like I'm just reducing it just like 1 or 2 joints, and that's like nicer because I'm tighter as well on Friday and I need like a lot less. And also because I'm mentally controlling myself, I'm like reprogramming myself. So right now we're in a phase out period, so like that's just gonna happen anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, So yeah, no, but it's nice to work with your body and with your mind and just try and think that you up actually. Because often you'll find that with the mind and the body, there's often sometimes a bit of a desync going on. So you really need to try and get yourself synced up, as best you can. Yeah. What else can I tell you? So I'm just gonna just keep reducing the amount, and I'm gonna skip some nights. So I think I might have like 1 night, 2 nights on, 1 night off. And by 2 nights on, I'm just looking like 1 or 2 joints, then none, and start introducing into the mix like 1 out of every 3, not smoke. Just for like a week or 2, and then just increase that. Just crossfade. Remember that crossfade. And this is important when you're changing anything in your life, this is coming from a person who's, made changes or tried to make changes or both, in the past. And, where I know I've been successful is where I've just done it little by little, but followed a clear, defined plan. And yeah, okay, whatever the plan is. Sometimes it might, you might be following it and there might be a deviation here and there. That's okay. That's alright. Just have to keep going back on it, yeah, and just following your path. And that's really what I'm looking to do. I'm just looking to follow my path. I'm just looking to, because in my 20s, I had a great 20s, but they were very unstructured and unorganised, and that had its own benefits. It also had its own disadvantages. I think overall, I think it was good for me and the person I am to actually have done everything that way. Yeah, because let's face it. I'm not a person who is in a desperate hurry. Some people are in such a hurry by the time they get 30 or older, like, oh, I need to get married and this, that, and the other, because they just think, oh, they're gonna pass the sell by date. They've not got that much self-confidence, or they just fall in love. I suppose, I fell in love like a few times, and we fell in love. Meaning me and like my ex or one of my exes. But like when I was in my 20s, I just didn't want to make that commitment, even though I really, really loved them. The thing is after a couple of years, it all became too stifling, too stifling, just too usual, no matter how beautiful they were. And there were some really beautiful ones. like very good in other departments too. Mm. And sometimes, obviously, when I'm living here, like in this fucking shitty room, and I think, oh, you know, like if I would have stayed like in that spot with that career, you know, with that girl, you know, I could be, yeah, living in a really, really nice apartment. I suppose I'd probably be quite well off. Because that's the thing, when you're like, uh, yeah, because you know it stabilizes you. Because when you're living in one place with one girl, focusing on one career or one business and stuff like that, you know, it's good for making money basically for building. You know, because to make money you need to build, 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 build. You know, and then keep building upon building upon building. And when you're moving around and changing that, of course, that can make it naturally. So yeah, and then obviously I see a lot of other friends who was in these countries wherever and they've stayed there and you know whatever, and they all follow the same trajectory. You know, it's not a unique trajectory, right, or anything like that. Like it's like pretty standard, like course. Um, so I think, oh well, wouldn't that be nice this morning? You know, just to wake up in like a really nice place with like my beautiful girlfriend and in some far-flung destination. But then I think, no. How's about no? Because you just have to remember. I always remember like when I was like at the end of like a year or two, and this is the point where I'm like, oh my god, I need, because they become boring, man.